Anine, welcome to the Membership Cafe. This cafe is held the third Wednesday of every month. It's about an hour long. This cafe will be recorded. And today's topic, we're talking about the 2020 regional meetings. First meeting will be in Phoenix, Arizona, April 18th, and then we have a meeting in Detroit, Michigan, June 13th, and Ontario, September 11th, Ottawa, Ontario. And I would first like to talk with Sarah a little bit, who can tell us about the regional meetings before we talk to our guests from those areas. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Well, I'm really happy that we're having a whole membership cafe about the regional meetings, because there is absolutely still time to, get registered if you're planning maybe or thinking about the Phoenix meeting. And this is our second round, second time of having regional meetings. The first one was in the 2017-2018 year. And that year we had 4 regional meetings. We just decided it felt like a really good idea to try and bring not 2 people, rather than expect everybody to just fly or drive to one specific location. And so these meetings tend to be smaller in nature. And by smaller, that looks like 40 to 60 people. And our national meeting usually brings about 150 to 170 people. The region can be construed pretty widely. We do tend to see most of the people coming to a meeting as, who live in the state that the meeting is in, but we get people from neighboring states, and people also fly from various parts of the country to attend a meeting. I think the attendance is still diverse, as always is for NADA meetings, but is more reflective of the particular area that we are in. And our hope is, by making it one day only, that people in a local area can have it be a more affordable meeting to go to, and potentially not have to fly, maybe not even have to have a hotel night. In my experience, people do tend to stay overnight. For example, they come in on a Friday night if the meeting's on a Saturday morning start time. Way more affordable than our national meetings, which are 3 days long, and then sometimes people participate in the training beforehand, and or maybe a pre-conference day of workshops. Also a wonderful experience that I highly recommend, but it definitely can stretch the pocket a bit, particularly around hotel stays. In relation to the Arizona meeting, we are thrilled to announce that we had like the cheapest discounted room rate we've ever gotten for any meeting, and that's $69 a night. It's
nice.
Definitely unheard of.
Yeah.
So we
fantastic.
only have it's called a courtesy room block. So we don't have a contract with a hotel. We do have a contract with a hotel, but we don't have a lot of rooms at that rate. So if people are interested in thinking about that, I really recommend that people make a reservation as soon as possible, because I know those are going to sell out.
Can they find that on the website, that rate?
They can.
Okay.
Yes, that rate, yes. So we actually have our own link for our meeting, and then you can access that link through the events page on our website. It's called Southwest Rendezvous is the name of our Phoenix meeting, and all the information pertaining to that meeting, the location, the name of the hotel, and all that is there. And then people can just click and make a reservation. Why should people attend? So I personally really love the regional meetings. I think the best part of them is that it feels really local, and their accessibility to both the topic and the speakers that is a little bit harder to get at the national meeting, just because of the size difference. So it feels more intimate. It feels, in a way, more informal, really more like a gathering instead of a kind of, meeting with poster sessions. And we don't do that either, but I'm just trying to think of like the distinction. Just the smaller nature allows a lot more time to connect, have a sense of everybody who's there and why they're there, and what kind of NADA work they might be doing. We do tend to have, I guess, maybe standard format with speakers, or maybe a group of 2 or 3 speakers sharing about a particular topic. And we might even be experimenting with that a little bit this year at our Detroit meeting with having more group-oriented activities or processes. NADA is a protocol and an intervention that is very adaptable and kind of takes the shape of the place that it's in. How NADA is done in different places really varies. And I think that's the cool part about going to regional meetings, is just seeing how differently NADA is kind of exists or is incorporated in a particular setting. Yeah, I mean, some of the highlights, we're almost done actually putting the program together for that meeting. And I would say there's definitely going to be a focus on how NADA is used in trauma or for trauma, both either sort of large-scale situations or chronic intergenerational trauma. We haven't really had that much of a focus on trauma in a conference before or at a meeting, so I appreciate that. That's kind of what creates unique perspective for the Phoenix meeting.
How many people are working on getting the Phoenix meeting together?
We have a planning group of about 6. Yeah, it's the most locally coordinated meeting we've ever had. It's been a fantastic experience being a part of it, and we're just available and there to provide assistance in how meetings are structured. And
okay, is Bob here?
Yep.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, folks. How are you all doing today?
I'm great. How's everybody else?
Cool. I
don't even know who's on the call.
We have Natalie Fisher is here from Canada, Victoria Taylor, Sunahai, some other people. I know Daksha was here. I don't know if she's still here.
I'm
Oh, there you are, Daksha. Hi.
I cannot see you all. I'm not good with gadgets, so.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm here.
Oh, good. All right. Bob.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. What were you saying, Bob?
I just got done needling up 2 people for the first time over here, and they were pretty pleased and pretty excited to see how it's all going to play out for them. So that's the fun thing about the clinics over here at Saguenay is all kinds of different people drop in, and some are hearing about it for the first time. Some are becoming kind of regulars. So yeah, it's been a good morning. Okay, the Detroit meeting is, if I'm remembering things correctly, is going to be at Grace in Action and or the American Indian Health Services in more of downtown Detroit.
We'll be at Grace in Action for the meeting.
Hopefully we'll get a chance to train Pastor Cummings in the NADA protocol as well. Detroit, we're trying to put together, we are putting together a big training that's kind of going to be along the lines of what happens nationally, only this is going to have a real local flavor. Detroit has a lot of community-based groups that are really, really, really interested in the NADA protocol and helping out in their communities with a wide variety of ailments and situations. So the other goal is to make this as affordable and accessible as possible. That should add kind of an interesting twist to the regional meetings, as well as a little bit more excitement. I'll be, I think, what Sarah likes to call the lead trainer for assembling a team that's going to include a lot of trainers in training, feeling that this is going to be a really, really good opportunity to get the trainers trained as well. I'll be taking kind of the lead on this.
And who should people contact if they would like to sign up for a NADA training for Detroit?
I think that one is going to be at the, it's going to be posted on the NADA website, and primarily contacting you folks at the main office.
Okay.
What we're also asking to do is, or making available our scholarship, so that we can hopefully open this thing up a little bit more. So if there are people that need some financial aid, they will also note that with the NADA office. Or
Okay.
more specifically, you can be on the hook.
Thanks, Bob.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Yeah, we're working out some of the details on that, but like I said, this is a training that has a fair amount of fluidity with it right now at the beginning, and there's an awful lot of excitement. Adela is working down in the Detroit area.
I think it's called Healing by Choice.
American Indian Health Services. I've got a couple of contacts down there, including Dave Garcia. And they're really excited to have us down there as well. So, and hopefully we'll be reconnecting with a community-based group that Phil Milleroff and I trained, 4 years ago now? They were really kind of a fun bunch. They ended up holding clinics on street corners. So the outreach in Detroit is really kind of interesting, and there's an awful lot of enthusiasm. So got an awful lot of people trained as ADSers. I think we're either number 1 or number 2 in the country, and we're either number 1 or number 2 with the amount of trainers we've got. Not everybody is completely active, but we hope to get them reinvigorated at the Detroit meeting.
So, and then you may not be able to answer this question, or maybe you do know, but what is the secret of Michigan to getting so many people trained and providing?
I think, I think a lot of that has to do with Marilyn Miller and a lot of the work that she did in that'd be the late 90s. The state of Michigan back then was offering free NADA trainings, but it was only for clinicians. And I think Marilyn Miller spearheaded an awful lot of that. They went on about 2, maybe 3 years, and then Virginia June connected with Brighton Hospital, has been a pretty active trainer. Celia Perez with some of the Hispanic and Native populations. And it's just kind of built over the years. So
A lot of connections, it sounds like.
Yeah, but it's been pretty loose. I mean, the state of Michigan just got done again with another round of training all of the mental health centers, agencies in the state, looking to train 1 or 2 people at each site. So in the past years, maybe a little bit right around there, another 105 people just through the state of Michigan have been added on as ADSers. So the state has really been kind of welcoming. I think we're going to have the head of the Michigan Acupuncture Association. What's his name, Sarah?
Henry Buchtel.
Henry Buchtel is hopefully going to be coming and talking about some more of the changes to the Michigan laws that makes it much more accessible and easier for people to provide the service. So yeah, the state overall has been pretty welcoming.
I have another question. Oh yeah, how many days is the training taking place?
We're going to start the Tuesday prior to the meeting, and we'll go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we've got some plans to provide a clinic for the attendees at the regional meeting. So along those lines, it'll be a lot like a national training.
Mm-hmm.
Really getting people involved. We're hoping that the goal is to have people start and walk away on Saturday recognized as not a detox specialist. So wrap it all up in 4 or 5 days.
Nice. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Thanks, Bob, for sharing with us about the Detroit meeting. I look forward to attending and meeting everybody up in that area. And also, I believe we're live streaming that too, aren't we, Sarah?
That's a good question. Because there might be some more group process in that meeting. I'm not sure that we would live stream the entire meeting, but we might be live streaming certain segments.
Okay, speakers. And is there going to be entertainment there?
Good question. We are planning for entertainment to kind of close the meeting. And if you came to Austin, then this is going to be, a completely different group, but a similar idea of just kind of getting us on our feet and getting us moving and having fun and enjoying each other's company and checking out the newest dance moves that the Nada family has brought.
Nice. That'll be fun. Ready to get our Nada groove on. Nada groove.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Doc, yes, Bob?
We're also looking at providing some other services that we've not been able to do at either the regional level or the national level. So stay tuned for those opportunities. It should be pretty unique and a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. This sounds like an interesting meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it'll because we're going to be training at a Native community urban center. There'll definitely be that flavor to it.
Awesome. Is this any Anishinaabe speaking or is it Sioux? Dakota?
There at the urban center, it's an awful lot of different tribes that are represented.
Nice.
And yeah, there's a nice long history of how that came to be, but that also addresses some of the historic trauma and some of the intergenerational trauma, and making some of those connections to the adverse childhood experiences. So there's some real excitement about the NADA protocol being able to alleviate and assist with some of that processing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. Thank you for that. That's great.
And an overall on why people should attend a regional meeting,
yes.
They appear to be much more intimate, and they all have a little bit of a different flavor. Michigan was really an opportunity to reconnect with people that I've heard about but not necessarily seen. I had the opportunity of going out to Portland, and it was really kind of exciting to see how how things operated out there. You know, the Phoenix one really sounds fascinating, especially with Chuck Pyle being involved with some of that grassroots approach to using NADA, especially in the field of substance abuse.
I have a question. Chuck, this is Victoria. Talk a little bit about going to a regional meeting in a different region, because like some of us don't live near anything. And so would we be welcome in Michigan if we wanted to, you know, get some NADA spirit? And
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would be very pleased to have you there, and even get you involved in some of the training if you were so interested.
okay, I wasn't only speaking about myself. Thank you very much for that, and maybe I am. But I just thinking about my ADSs. You know, I'm just trying to get them to understand membership's important.
Yeah.
And
They would be absolutely welcome there. And that's one of the cool things about going to the regional meetings. You really see people who are dedicated, actively involved, and very, very interested in spreading the spirit of NADA. And that is really energizing. And, you know, we saw that in Michigan. I saw that in Portland. It's really pretty cool.
okay, great, thanks.
It's very different than a national meeting, in the sense that it's much more palpable, the feel of what are people up to and how are they doing NADA. And I don't feel that even though it's in a specific region, that the sense of connection is exclusive to that region. I think it really is, sort of permeates the whole space and everybody who's there. And in a way that, if you aren't from that region, you'll get a real good sense of how NADA is done there, but you'll have an opportunity even to share about how you're doing it with probably more people than might happen at a national meeting. So I think it's a great opportunity for someone from out of state to come and feel much more a part of the meeting and of NADA, because it's more intimate and smaller. This year, I do feel that they're going to be a little bigger than their first year. So, but not very likely not the size of our national meeting.
Okay.
And that was about 40 to 45 people.
All right. Well, we're at 10:34, and I think we're going to thank you guys so much for sharing about Michigan. Okay, we're going to switch over to Daksha Patel. Hi, Daksha.
Hi, can you see me?
I can.
But
Can you
I
see?
cannot. I know I'm not good with gadgets, so I messed up something here. My name is Daksha Patel, and I am in Ottawa, Canada. Ottawa is capital of Canada, and I'm a trainer. I got my ADS training in Lincoln with Dr. Smith, and my trainer's training was in Lincoln also with Dr. Smith, and Carlos and Rosa. And I do train people in Ottawa in different organizations, inviting us, and I'm so excited that NADA is coming to Ottawa. My role is I'm trying to put the puzzle pieces together. It will be September 11th, it's Friday, and September 12th we will have a trainers meeting, as Shara talked to us, and it will be in one of the community center, health community center. It's called Sandy Hill Health Community Center, and they are the pioneer that they started using NADA in Ottawa. They were the first one started AccuDetox, and in Dr. Smith came 2014. We had a meeting in a Sandy Hill Health Community Center with Dr. Smith, and there was a hall full of people. People had to sit outside, and they are offering AccuDetox in their organization, and I train people in that organization. There are so many different aspects that they can use AccuDetox. Sandy Hill, like there are many other organizations. Sandy is one of the organization, and we have many other organizations. They are using NADA AccuDetox and regular basis, and they are all know about the NADA and AccuDetox, and more awareness is happening, and I think our regional meeting will be very beneficial. It is more, I think they are using more for addictions, and they are aware of how it impact overall, but mainly addictions, alcohol, drugs, and like they have an injection site. So I was telling them in Sandy Hill, because Sandy Hill has a long relationship with NADA. So I was telling them, you should have like one room injection site, and in the very next room AccuDetox, and AccuDetox will win. Dr. Smith came, he went to visit so many different organizations, particularly one with withdrawal management center. And then in the morning, he visited addiction center, and in the afternoon, Dr. Smith came to Sandy Hill. Then we had a big meeting. He talked like people had questions and answers, and Dr. Smith was in the talking mood, like, always was giving a lot good knowledge about NADA in a very simple way. And then he came to my home, and then we went to evening. One doctor, Dr. Brian Bailey, he had invited Dr. Smith at his conference center. And here in my neighborhood, there is one other doctor who was Dr. Smith's teacher in Malaysia, and they were friends. So Dr. Reagan and Dr. Smith had a very good meeting, and Dr. Reagan, he promoted NADA a lot. And we all went to Dr. Bailey's conference center for a meeting, and there were about 30 to 35 people over there, and lots of like talk and interaction with Dr. Smith about NADA and AccuDetox. So people were feeling so rich with Dr. Smith's presence. And talking. Natalie Fisher, I'm glad that Natalie got there before me. Natalie is very much, she came to me for AccuDetox. Just she wanted to, try, and she had a very good experience, and she started taking interest in it, I think. Right, Natalie?
Yes, absolutely.
And Natalie came for training, like few days for training. Still, she is on ADS training list, And she has so much NADA spirit that I can see. And she's helping me with NADA and this conference, our regional meeting. So I have invited her. I sent a link to her. And I'm so glad that she is part of our NADA family.
So I am a business consultant and executive coach. And I went to see Daksha for some AcuDetox. And I really, really, really enjoyed the process. And it really spoke to me that I wanted to help others in the same context. And so when Daksha would go off to certain community centers to train certain people, when I was available, would go and get trained as well. So I'm still training under Daksha, and I look forward to becoming a trainer myself under NADA. Question.
Yeah.
So this is going to be my first regional meeting, and clearly I'm going to be hosting it with Daksha. What is to be expected in this regional meeting?
Yeah, yes. And what the further part we need to do with Netly for the regional meeting, just preparation, because we are new to host something like this. I will have a training when there are requests. I will put everyone together and then have a training before regional meeting. I'm planning.
Oh, okay, great, good to know. And if somebody calls the NADA office, should we have them email you?
Yes.
Okay.
And I will pick the date before, like in the same week or week before, and then bring them for the final certification at the regional meeting.
Okay, nice. And why should people come to the Ottawa, Ontario meeting?
Wow. Natalie, you have anything to say?
Because Ottawa is awesome. We have the canal. Oh, it's September 11th. Okay, never mind. The canal is not going to be frozen. You know what? It's a lovely fall season in Ottawa.
Okay.
It's just spectacular just to tour around the city of Ottawa. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point.
Good.
And sorry, go ahead.
Since Dr. Smith already came here, so we have to bring a NADA regional meeting here also, and there is the need for it. Mm-hmm. We need to move to, like we want to stretch our AcuDetox much more in many different places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it's raising awareness, Daksha.
Raising awareness, yes.
We really need to raise awareness of the resources that are available. And what we can do for them. I think that's important.
And as Shara said, like, this is good. Like, some people like to come to the conference, but they cannot come. So besides going to NADA conference, NADA comes here, which is very helpful for people who wants to attend.
Mm-hmm.
Good question. We haven't really begun yet the program planning for Ottawa, but there's always ideas brewing for the program. And so it doesn't mean that there aren't thoughts about it, but we don't have concrete things sort of confirmed. A theme that was very clear and evident as being an important theme at our last Canadian regional meeting, which had been in Nova Scotia, is the importance of raising awareness of how NADA is practiced, specifically in Canada, in the various provinces. Ontario happens to be the province that has the strongest presence of NADA, but NADA is really in many, many different provinces and some very rural areas. So I'm really hopeful that we're able to experience the diversity of how NADA is practiced in Canada. And at the last Nova Scotia meeting, we had a sort of webinar component for members in Canada that couldn't come to the meeting, you know, that might be in British Columbia or in Saskatchewan. And it's just, for a one-day meeting, a bit of a challenge financially to make the leap to make that distance of travel, but they were able to listen to some of the afternoon presentations, and then we also had a time just to hear about members in different places and what they're doing with NADA. And I feel that will continue to be a presence at this meeting. And in Canada in general, NADA exists in a much more system-oriented space within structured settings, government-sponsored health programs, very sort of coordinated and organized withdrawal management services. And that is distinct and unique from the United States. And so the goal is to be able to highlight how NADA exists in various different kinds of settings, both in Ottawa and Ontario specifically, and also further than that. And to my knowledge, these are the first sort of larger organized meetings of NADA in Canada. And so we were a small group in Amherst, but it was a really great opportunity to kind of rekindle activity there because it was very active in their health authority, and then they had a new administration come in that had very different opinions, and so it basically just very quickly went away and didn't have institutional support. And so a lot of that energy felt dormant, and that the meeting was kind of beginning to rekindle it and give people a sense of hope and possibility that NADA could be active again in the province, but maybe in a different manner than in the more traditional way that it had been. So, and with Ottawa, it's a very different scenario, a very different both province and city, and with the kind of history that Daksha has had there, relationship building is very active in that city, and people know about NADA, and that will help that it's not just about rekindling NADA in that local place, but really inspiring other places to get it started, and as Daksha said, to bring it to an even greater audience of clients and providers in the city.
Now, I have a question. In the provinces, is the regulations the same for each province? They don't differ like down here in the States?
That is such a great question. So it is province to province, like it is state by state here.
Okay.
And there is, in general, less regulation of both acupuncture and NADA in Canada than there is in the US. But there are a couple of provinces that are acupuncturist only, and Ontario is the only province that actually has regulation, but it is fairly flexible. It allows versus prohibiting. Sometimes you can have regulation and you're like, yes, I can do it. And then you look at the regulation and it's still kind of prohibitive. That's not the case with Ontario regulation, and Ontario regulation didn't happen that long ago. It was in the last decade, and it didn't, to my knowledge, now I could be wrong, but I don't think that it stopped any services from continuing. And we have had that in our history as well, mostly in the US, where legislation that came in pertaining to acupuncture greatly impacted access to NADA services. So, a couple of provinces have certainly their work cut out to make it available to NADA practitioners. And I know that there will be some people coming from both British Columbia and Quebec, or planning to come. But it's great to sort of celebrate the presence of NADA. And that's why Ontario is a nice choice, because we can celebrate how NADA has thrived. And here's what it could look like if with NADA available in many settings. And I think that can be the inspiration for other provinces and cities and communities. NADA in Canada has disproportionately a lot fewer trainers than in the US. So one goal is to the only way NADA can grow is through training. Having more ADSs means more NADA available, and that is upon the trainer to, having more trainers. And so we have seen more trainers coming up. Daksha is responsible and helpful in having brought in a trainer recently. And so I think that's exciting, and a meeting like this can spark interest and motivation for people to pursue that. I would say it's definitely, to become a NADA trainer requires a bit of grit and commitment and vision for yourself, but it's really worth it. If you have those components and ingredients there, then you are a good candidate for being a trainer. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of opportunity for expansion and growth via the regional meeting. And perhaps that can inspire more locally based meetings that are not coordinated necessarily with our office, but that just sort of are more organic in form, and that people want to get together, and they can use Facebook, they can use other social media outlets to stay in touch with each other. I have a dream and a vision of having a NADA intranet, so that it's like our own Facebook, because a lot of people are not on Facebook. As many as there are, there's many that aren't, and so probably that ratio is not quite even, but still, we don't want to exclude anybody by just saying, oh, well, we just use Facebook, so too bad for you guys who don't. I would like it to be some sort of service, but that could be like several years in the making. So nothing that's happening even by next year, but down the line, creating greater inclusivity and access for people to talk laterally, so talking to each other versus having to do this triangle of calling us to call somebody else. We're trying to move in the direction of that level of decentralization and community building. So
Thanks for the vision. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. We are really at the bottom of the hour now. Does anybody have anything they'd like to ask or say or announce? Anywhere.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing this space with us, Daksha. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Or as we do in Croatia, we go like this to ask a question. Bob, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Bono Peace. See you guys later.
Okay. Well, one just quick plug is that in people's inboxes, yesterday was sent our first email newsletter. And we have a couple of things that we'd love people to fill out. One is the membership survey. It's not a terribly long investment of time. It might be, about 10 minutes of your time to give us feedback on specifically member services and your experience as a member of NADA. And we're really doing a lot of innovation and discussion and talking about what our membership services are like, not just how we can improve them, we're really trying to expand even some definitions of what it means to be a member and what kinds of resources people need to really be successful in feeling supported to expand NADA in their community. So we really need that input. It's a very real needs assessment that we're doing right now. And so we want people to fill that out. And we're looking for a name for our newsletter, just like our paper newsletter Guide Points has its name, Guide Points. We would love our electronic newsletter to have its own identity. So if you have some sort of inspiration that comes please send it our way. And we read all of those carefully and consider them. And what else was in that email? Oh, and we're doing a new member spotlight. So if you would like to share about your NADA work on our various social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and our website, I think it's going to be weekly, a member spotlight. I actually can't remember how often we're going to do them. We're going to do them regularly to get to know new members and how they use NADA. And you know, nothing, don't feel too intimidated. This is just a teeny little blurb about you and your work, maybe a picture, if you're okay with it. No, everything is done by consent here. And so anyways, check out the new email. And thanks, Mary, for putting it together.
Was very nice to hear, Bob. Also, so much NADA spirit I can feel. Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure hearing from Canada as well. And it sounds like you've got some really wonderful stories about Mike and your experience at Lincoln. We'd love to hear more.
Thank you.